Welcome to our kitchen. Today we prepare a medieval pasta, ravioli, with a delicious and flavorful filling. We start with the ingredients. For the filling we need chard, spinach, both fresh and aged cheese, and eggs. For the pasta, remilled durum wheat semolina. And then the spices: ginger, cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, black pepper, long pepper, and cinnamon leaves. First, we prepare the filling. We peel and mince the ginger. This recipe is part of a 13th century Venetian manuscript, conventionally called Anonimo Veneziano. That means Anonymous Venetian, a very interesting source for late medieval cuisine. Then we grind the other spices in the mortar. Spices are fundamental for medieval cooking, traded mainly from India and other Eastern countries. They were an important element of medieval economy and high-end cuisine. The author of this recipe writes that we have to use sweet and strong spices. He gives also his favorite spice mixes in his cookbook: ginger, cloves, cinnamon, and cinnamon leaves for the sweet spice mix, and cloves, nutmeg, black pepper, and long pepper for the strong spice mix. Then we parboil the chard and spinach. As soon as they start to boil, we remove them from the water. We chose chard and spinach, but the author tells us to prepare this dish with any green leafy vegetable. We mince the chard and spinach and then mix them with the other ingredients. We add the fresh cheese and grate the aged cheese. The medieval author just tells us to use both aged and fresh cheese. We chose a fresh cow cheese and an aged pecorino. If the cheese you use is not salty enough, add also a pinch of salt to the filling. Then we add the spices and one egg and mix everything together. We prepare the dough with remilled durum wheat semolina, 2 pinches of salt, and water. Pasta, prepared since the antiquity, became fundamental during the Middle Ages. It was made usually with just flour and water, sometimes adding eggs. It was shaped in many ways and usually served with spices, at times with grated cheese and sugar. A few months ago, we prepared medieval lasagna, one of the most common ways to eat pasta. You will find the link to the recipe at the end of this video. Then we roll a thin pasta sheet. Sheets of pasta were used to make pies or dumplings like ravioli and tortelli. It is not easy to distinguish exactly ravioli from tortelli, in particular because the shape of both of them is usually chosen by the cook. In this case, the anonymous author gives an important direction, writing that the size and shape of the ravioli are given by a kind of cup used to cut out the pasta. We add the filling and seal the ravioli. To seal them better, you can moisten the edge of the pasta circles, dipping a finger in water. We cook the ravioli in chicken broth. In the Middle Ages, pasta is often cooked in broth instead of water. The cooking time changes depending on the flour you use, how thin is the pasta sheet, and how hard is the dough. We suggest to taste the ravioli and pay attention not to overcook them. We serve the ravioli with grated aged cheese. We used the same pecorino of the filling and sprinkled them with spices. You can use the same spice mix of the filling or choose just a few of them. These flavorful ravioli are a delicious way to try the medieval ancestor of a very popular traditional Italian dish. If you're interested in ancient foods and flavors, or you're just looking for unusual and delicious recipes, please subscribe our channel.